It started with small things. Little cracks in what looked like a perfect relationship. Claire was charming with everyone. She had this way of making people feel seen, admired, important. When she met Luke, she smiled, asked questions, laughed at his jokes. For a while, I thought she genuinely liked him. Luke loved art. He worked as a freelance graphic designer and had built a strong portfolio. He was proud of what he'd achieved despite the challenges he faced. I was proud too. But Claire's compliments always came with that tone. "It's so inspiring how hard he tries," she'd say. Or, "You're such a good brother for helping him." Helping him. Luke didn't need help. He had his own apartment, his own business, his own life. I didn't carry him, I just loved him. Every time she spoke like that, something in me tightened. Still, I told myself she didn't mean harm. Maybe she just didn't know how to talk about disability. She came from a family obsessed with perfection. Her parents threw parties like business deals. Every picture was staged, every smile rehearsed. They lived in a world where image meant everything. Maybe she just needed time to understand Luke. Then came that dinner at my parents' house. Luke was showing everyone a new project. He'd been hired by a tech startup to design their brand identity. He talked about color palettes, fonts, the energy he wanted to capture. His face lit up when he spoke. I loved seeing him like that. Then Claire leaned close to me and whispered, "Does he really think he can handle something that big?" I froze. For a second, I thought I'd misheard her. Luke had a degree in design. He won awards. People hired him because he was good, not because they felt sorry for him. When we got home, I asked her what she meant. She shrugged. "I just think people give him work out of pity sometimes. You know, to feel good about themselves." I couldn't believe it. "Claire, he earns his clients. He's talented. He doesn't need anyone's pity." She rolled her eyes. "Relax, Ethan. I'm just being realistic. The world's tough for people like him." People like him. That phrase echoed in my head for days. She didn't say, people with disabilities. She said it like Luke was a different species. I wanted to think she didn't realize how cruel it sounded. But deep down, I knew she meant it. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. Was I really about to marry someone who looked at my brother that way? I tried to push it aside. Told myself love meant patience. That she'd grow, that she'd learn. But a part of me already knew the truth. She wasn't going to change. Because to her, empathy was a performance. And Luke didn't fit her perfect picture. I didn't say anything then. I just waited. But that moment, in that quiet living room, something in our relationship had already cracked. And it would only get worse from there. The engagement party was supposed to be perfect. My parents hosted it in their backyard, under strings of warm lights. It was simple, cozy, filled with laughter and good food. Luke had been working on a surprise for weeks. He showed up with a wrapped canvas and a nervous smile. When he handed it to us, I saw tears in my mother's eyes. It was a painting of Claire and me. The moment I proposed, captured in soft colors and tiny details. The bench, the trees, the exact way she looked that day. It was stunning. Everyone clapped. My dad hugged Luke and said it belonged in a gallery. Even my friends were amazed. They asked for his contact to commission artwork. For a moment, Luke was the center of attention. I saw him glowing, proud, happy. And I saw Claire smiling too. But it wasn't real. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Later that night, while cleaning up, I heard her voice in the kitchen. She was talking to her maid of honor, Jenna. "It's nice, I guess," she said softly. "But I don't know where we'd even hang it. It doesn't fit our aesthetic." I froze at the doorway. Jenna sounded confused. "Claire, it's beautiful. He's talented." Claire sighed. "It's good for what it is, but we shouldn't encourage him too much. He might get unrealistic ideas." My chest tightened. Luke had poured his heart into that gift, and she was talking about him like a child. I stood there for a long moment, trying to swallow the anger. When everyone left, I asked her about it. She acted like it was nothing. "Why are you always looking for something to be upset about?" she snapped. "I was nice to him all night." "Nice," I said quietly. "Pretending to appreciate someone while insulting them later isn't nice." She crossed her arms. "You baby him, Ethan. The world won't always be kind to him." "He doesn't need kindness," I said. "He needs respect." She rolled her eyes again, like I was being dramatic. I didn't know what to say. Every time I tried to show her Luke's worth, she turned it into pity. It was exhausting. I started seeing things differently after that night. Every smile, every comment, every glance at Luke, it all felt fake. I realized Claire didn't just misunderstand him. She looked down on him. It wasn't conscious hatred. It was quiet superiority. The kind that hides behind politeness and good manners. The kind that says, "I care," but means I pity. I lay awake again that night, thinking about the future. If she couldn't see my brother as human, what would she think of our own family someday? How could I marry someone who measured people by appearances? I wanted to believe she'd change. I wanted to believe love could fix it. But deep inside, I felt the foundation cracking again. And this time, I wasn't sure we could rebuild it. 3 months before the wedding, everything fell apart. We were sitting at Claire's dining table, surrounded by charts and notes. Guest lists, color palettes, flower samples, the usual chaos. She was obsessing over every detail, wanting the day to be perfect. I thought it was just normal wedding stress. Until she looked up and said something that stopped me cold. "Ethan, I've been thinking about the ceremony photos." I nodded, distracted. "What about them?" She hesitated, then sighed. "I just don't know if it's a good idea for Luke to be your best man." I stared at her. "What are you talking about? He's my brother." "I know," she said quickly, "but think about the pictures." I frowned. "The pictures?" She nodded, pulling out her phone. She started showing me photos from Pinterest. "See how balanced these wedding parties look. Everything symmetrical, elegant." I didn't understand. She took a deep breath. "With Luke in his wheelchair, the visual line will be off. It might ruin the aesthetic." The words hit like a slap. "The aesthetic," I repeated. She nodded seriously, like she was discussing centerpieces. "It's not just about looks, Ethan. It's about what people will see, the memory." "The memory," I said slowly, "is supposed to be about love, not symmetry." She frowned, frustrated that I wasn't agreeing. "Don't twist my words. I'm just thinking practically." "Practically?" I asked. "You mean excluding my brother because he uses a wheelchair?" She crossed her arms. "I'm not saying exclude him. Maybe he could do a reading instead. Sit in the front row." "So he's not in the photos," I said quietly. She didn't answer. That silence told me everything. I stood up. "You're serious about this?" She followed me, her tone sharp. "Ethan, this is our wedding day. It's supposed to be beautiful, don't make it harder." I turned to face her. "Beautiful doesn't mean perfect symmetry. It means everyone we love is there." She sighed. "You're being emotional. I'm thinking long term. People will see these photos forever." "Then let them see my brother," I said. "That's not the point," she snapped. "Then what is the point?" I shouted. Her voice dropped. "I've been patient about this, but having a disabled family member changes how people see us." I couldn't breathe. "What did you just say?" She kept going. "It affects our image, our kids, our reputation. I'm just being honest." I looked at her and felt something break inside me. "You think Luke is a problem to hide," I said. She didn't deny it. That was enough. I picked up the folder with all our plans and dropped it on the table. "Then there's no wedding." Her face went pale. "You don't mean that?" I do, I said. Because if you can't see the beauty in my family, you don't deserve to be part of it. And just like that, it was over. The next few days felt unreal. I called the venue, the florist, the band. One by one, I canceled everything. Every deposit lost felt like a piece of something dying quietly inside me. Friends texted asking what happened. I didn't explain. I just said the wedding was off. When I finally went to see my parents, I could barely look them in the eye. They were sitting at the kitchen table when I walked in. Luke was there too, working on his laptop, smiling like always. "Ethan, what's wrong?" my mom asked. I took a deep breath. "The wedding's canceled." The room went still. My dad set down his coffee slowly. "What happened?" he said carefully. "She wanted me to uninvite Luke," I said. "She thought his wheelchair would ruin the photos." For a second, nobody spoke. Then my dad's jaw tightened. My mom's eyes filled with tears. And Luke just stared at me, confused. "Please tell me you didn't break up because of me," he said quietly. I shook my head. "I broke up with her because of her." Luke looked down, fidgeting with his hands. "I could have just skipped the ceremony," he whispered. "I don't want to cause problems for anyone." That hit me harder than anything Claire had ever said. I walked over and pulled him into a hug. "You didn't cause anything, Luke. She did." Mom started crying openly. Dad looked like he wanted to punch a wall. "You did the right thing," he said finally. But I didn't feel right. I felt hollow, angry, lost. The house was quiet, except for the hum of Luke's laptop. I kept replaying her words in my head. Ruined, aesthetic, image. All those meaningless words, stacked higher than love. I stayed at my parents' house that night. Luke came to my room before bed. He said, "I'm sorry it ended this way." I smiled weakly. "Me too, but maybe it's better this way." He nodded. "At least now you know who she really was." He was right. I'd spent years seeing her through love's filter. Now I could see the truth clearly. She didn't love people. She loved perfection. And love built on perfection always breaks. In the following weeks, life slowed down. The silence after a broken engagement is strange. There's no anger left to shout, just an emptiness you learn to live with. But through it all, Luke was there. He'd drop by with coffee or text memes to make me laugh. He never once mentioned the wedding again. Instead, he kept reminding me, in his quiet way, that family mattered more than image. That kindness outlasted beauty. And one night, while sitting on the porch, I looked at him and realized something. Losing Claire wasn't a tragedy. It was clarity. Because I hadn't lost love that day. I'd rediscovered what real love looked like, and it was sitting right beside me. November came faster than I expected. The wedding date passed quietly, just another Saturday. No white dress, no vows, no music. But 1 week later was Luke's birthday. He was turning 25, and I wanted to make it special. He'd been quieter since everything happened. I could see it in his eyes, that lingering guilt he shouldn't have carried. So I decided to do something unforgettable. I still had the wedding money sitting in my account. $50,000, meant for one perfect day that never happened. Why not use it for something better? I booked the ballroom at the downtown hotel. The same place Claire had wanted for our reception. I called the caterer, the DJ, the photographer. Instead of a wedding, it would be a birthday celebration. I sent invitations to family, friends, and every person who believed in Luke. Even his clients from the art world. Some of them were well-known, musicians, local influencers, a retired football player. I told them the story in short. That Luke was my brother. That he'd faced ignorance, but kept shining anyway. The responses were overwhelming. People wanted to come, to celebrate him, to show him he mattered. I kept everything secret. Luke thought we were having dinner with the family. He wore his best suit, smiling shyly when I picked him up. When we pulled up to the hotel, he looked confused. "Ethan, this place looks expensive," he said. "Just trust me," I told him. The elevator doors opened, and the ballroom lights spilled out. 200 people turned and shouted, "Surprise!" Luke froze. Then his hands went to his face, and he started laughing through tears. There were banners, lights, and giant prints of his artwork hanging on the walls. Everywhere he looked, people were clapping, cheering, admiring his designs. The indie band he'd worked for got on stage. They played their biggest song and dedicated it to him. Then the TV host he designed a logo for came up to speak. She talked about how his creativity inspired her, how he saw beauty where others saw limitation. Luke just sat there, speechless, eyes shining. Then the football player took the mic. He told everyone Luke's designs had helped his charity raise thousands for kids. He called him a game changer. The crowd erupted again. And then came the moment that silenced the room. A famous film director stood and walked to the stage. Everyone recognized him instantly. He smiled and said, "I'm here because great talent deserves recognition." He looked straight at Luke. "I want to hire you as lead designer for my next film campaign." The room exploded in cheers. Luke covered his face and cried. I was crying too. That night, the party became something bigger than a celebration. It was a turning point. For Luke, it was proof that he was never defined by his wheelchair. For me, it was proof that love, real love, creates miracles money never could. A week after the party, the photos went viral. People shared clips of Luke's speech, the crowd cheering, the tears, the laughter. But it wasn't pity this time. It was admiration. They saw his talent, his courage, his confidence. He started getting calls from companies across the country. Podcasts wanted to interview him. A magazine reached out for a feature on young entrepreneurs. His art was everywhere. And then Claire saw it. I knew because she texted me out of nowhere. At first it was small talk. "Tell Luke congratulations. The party looked amazing." Then her messages grew longer. "I saw the photos with that director. I can't believe it. I made a mistake." I didn't reply. She called instead. Her voice was shaky, soft. "Ethan, I saw everything online. I think I finally understand what I lost." I stayed silent. She continued, "Luke's success, it's incredible. I didn't realize how talented he was." I sighed. "That's the thing, Claire. You only see his worth now that others do." She tried to argue. "That's not true. I've been learning, changing, working on myself." "Learning," I said quietly, "for a few months. Luke's been living this his whole life." There was silence. She whispered, "I just want to fix things. Maybe we can start over." "There's nothing to fix," I said. "You showed me who you are. I believed you." Her breath caught. "I lost you," she said. "You didn't lose me," I replied. "You threw me away when you threw away compassion." I hung up and blocked her number. That was the last time we ever spoke. In the months that followed, Luke's life transformed completely. The film project opened doors he never dreamed of. He was booked solid for 2 years. He started speaking at conferences about inclusion and design. People saw him as a leader, not a label. And for the first time, he believed that too. Our parents were proud beyond words. Sometimes, Mom would tear up just seeing his name in articles. I'd catch Dad smiling quietly, that kind of pride only a father feels. As for me, I moved on. I met someone new, Emily, a special education teacher. She was kind, grounded, and saw people for who they truly were. The first time she met Luke, she laughed at his jokes and asked for his advice on a project. No awkward pauses, no pity, just genuine respect. Watching them talk was like healing in motion. It reminded me what love should look like. No filters, no conditions, just acceptance. One night, I looked at a photo from Luke's party. He was laughing with Dad, the band playing behind them. That photo said everything words never could. That's what family looks like. That's what love looks like. And as I stood there smiling, I realized something simple. Losing Claire wasn't the end of my story. It was the moment it finally began. Months passed, and life found its rhythm again. Luke's name appeared in magazines, interviews, and design showcases. He was thriving, confident, and finally seen for who he truly was. Every success he earned reminded me why choosing him had mattered. I sometimes thought about Claire. Not with anger, but with clarity. She didn't just lose a wedding. She lost the chance to learn what love really means. Love isn't polished photos or perfect symmetry. It's standing beside people when the world turns away. It's choosing kindness over appearance, respect over image. Luke taught me that. He showed me that beauty isn't something you frame. It's something you feel. Emily understood that too. She became part of our lives, and it felt effortless. No pretending, no judgment, just warmth. One evening, watching Luke sketch under the sunset, I smiled. The world had once seen his wheelchair before his talent. Now they saw his brilliance first. And I saw my own reflection in his joy. Because in saving my brother's place in my life, I had saved my own. And that, more than any wedding, was the real happy ending.